Good morning. Happy Friday.
You are unmuted.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything to do with what honorable, beverly known just as the Spirit Court, now sitting at Dedham, within for the Commonwealth, draw near, if your attendance you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and when the sitting of this court's in session, please be seated.
Good morning, counsel. Good morning, Ms. Reed.
Good morning, jurors. Happy Friday. I do have to ask you those 3 questions. Were you all able to follow my instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left yesterday? Yes. Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read any?
Break free with the new Opera GX, a browser that puts you in control with a brand new design that frees up even more pixels for personalization and an inventory of features to up your game at every level. Like GX Control to help rein in your resources with integrated limiters for RAM, CPU, and network. A sidebar for direct access to your favorite side quests, streams, and posts. And built-in privacy tools like ad and tracker blockers and free no-log VPN. Check into GX Corner for the latest news, deals, and free games. But what really makes our hit different is mods, giving you the power to change everything from animated wallpapers to themes, sounds, music, and shaders, so you can change everything. Get Opera GX.
Oh my gosh, what is that? Is that a
Hold
commercial?
on.
You're still purchasing your lenses from your optometrist?
What are you doing? Come on.
Walk with me to the glory that is 1-800-CONTACTS.
It's quick.
Affordable.
Easy to use. It'll take you 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes.
And your order's on the way.
It's like a box with a cape that shows up in your mailbox.
1-800-CONTACTS.
Right now, you can save 20% on your first order, plus fast free shipping right to your door.
Had communicated one way or the other without telling me anything that they said. Did you learn whether or not Chief Berkowitz had communicated with Brian Higgins?
No.
Did you learn that Chief Berkowitz had communicated with Brian Albert? And I'm talking about in the days before you were at 34 Fairview, which was February 4th, from the 29th to February 4th.
No.
You returned to the scene, you indicated on direct examination, on or about February 10th, 2022, to conduct yet another search, correct?
Yes.
And on that particular occasion, you recovered some 6 pieces of red and or clear and or black plastic. Is that how you testified?
There was numerous pieces. The exact number, I don't know. You'd have to refresh my memory with a report.
Okay. There were several pieces. The exact number, I'm not really worried about. There were several. There's more than one.
Yes.
Okay. There were also some clear glass pieces, correct?
Again, I don't know exactly, but if a report can be presented, it would refresh my memory.
Okay. Let's do that real quick. approach your Honor?
Yes.
So you can actually let me give you the front page of that as well. Just familiarize yourself with it.
Thank you.
Let me know when you familiarize yourself with that report. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant, did you have an opportunity to take a look at this report?
I did.
Did that refresh your recollection as to the items generally that you recovered on February 10th?
Yes, it did.
Did you recover approximately 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic and 14 pieces of glass and plastic fragments?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You would obviously consider that to be an incredibly important part of the investigation, recovering physical items at the scene of the incident, correct?
Every piece of evidence is important.
Can you describe for the jurors exactly where each of the, let's take them one at a time, where each of the 6 pieces of plastic fragments were found?
All items recovered that day were found in the general vicinity where the other items were also located. The area had been excavated. I've been to that location several times, and it was all located in the general vicinity where it was initially excavated, but also where I was told Mr. John O'Keefe was found on the morning of January 29th, 2022.
So, other than saying in the general vicinity, did you seek to actually document where each item was found? In other words, by cross coordinates or some other such manner?
The exact location where each item was recovered from was not documented with a picture or GPS location. It was still within the general vicinity of that 40 to 50 square feet or so, by my approximation, near the flagpole, between the street, the flagpole, and the fire hydrant. It was all the same general vicinity.
So 40 to 50 square feet would be a 10-foot by 5-foot square, correct?
Generally speaking, 50, yeah, okay. 5 by 10, general area.
If I may, Your Honor, if I may approach this a little bit, would you agree with me? I'm not going to pull out a measuring tape. Would you agree I'm about 10 feet from you right now?
I would agree with you, yes.
Okay. And from the jury bar, probably about 5 feet from there?
Yes.
So we're talking about a relatively broad area for small pieces of physical evidence to be found. You would agree with that?
I would, again, estimate it was the general area, maybe 10 feet in one direction, 10 feet in another, and 5 feet out, maybe 3 feet out. They were the general area where it was initially excavated and then expanded with the snow melting, and all the pieces were within that general area.
But you were working on an assumption at that point, on an assumption that there was some sort of an impact at 34 Fairview, correct?
I don't understand what you're asking.
You were working on an assumption or presumption that there was an impact of a physical item, in your view, an SUV, with a human being, correct? That was your presumption at the time.
The evidence was pointing that impact took place because there was damage to the taillight. Large chunks of it was missing, and we were locating pieces that were consistent with texture, color, and size fragments from that SUV on the lawn. So I wasn't assuming anything. The evidence was speaking to us.
You weren't there, correct?
I was there recovering the evidence, yes.
You weren't there at the time of the incident.
No, of course not.
So you were utilizing assumptions and presumptions based on information that was provided to you. Yes or no?
We work by learning information, collecting evidence, and getting that evidence to suggest what happened. That evidence is tested, and then it's all put together into the case.
You use the word to suggest what happened, correct?
Yes.
Another word for a suggestion is if something is suggested to you, you then receive it and assume certain things based on that suggestion.
What we do with suggestions, we
Come to Bricks and Minifigs, where we buy, sell, and trade all things Lego. With a variety of new sets, used sets, minifigs, and more, there's something for everyone to enjoy. We specialize in rare and custom Lego products you won't find in other stores. Dig through our bulk tables to find that one piece you've been looking for. Have Lego products you no longer need? We'll buy them from you for cash or in-store credit. The adventure begins at Bricks and Minifigs. Visit us today and let your imagination soar.
Does it ever seem like work is just one long list of questions?
Who are you here for?
Where's my charger?
Do I have anything in my teeth?
Good thing you have human intelligence to show you the way.
Who would be an ideal mentor considering my goals?
Who has the right technical skills for this? The answers to your business questions of performance, culture, impact, and team dynamics with human intelligence from WorkHuman. You already have them.
Which group is driving our culture the most?
How engaged is the night shift?
What kind of skills would set me up for advancement in my group?
How do you think we stack up against other departments?
Unlock the insights hidden in your own data to transform your business in your organization.
I'm so sorry. I don't know how they gave me commercials. I'm going to switch my browser. I apologize.
This was a possible domestic involving a glass strike to the victim. As a result, we had to go and see the victim's body and the injuries. So Mr. O'Keefe's injuries presented a certain way, and we learned more information. So the more information that comes in, the more information that we are able to corroborate statements and collect evidence that further corroborates other information is helpful in the investigation. That's how investigations develop. If we knew everything we knew from day one, there wouldn't be a process of developing investigation.
So the answer to my question, Sergeant, is you were working off of a theory, correct? Yes or no?
We were working off a report of an injured male party, and then we developed the information, collected the evidence, and developed the investigation.
Do you know what the word theory means?
I'm sorry, English is like a third language for me, so if you can bring up the Webster's Dictionary, I can read it out.
You want me to pull up the Webster's Dictionary? You want to take a break real quick and pull up the Webster's Dictionary to define a word that you used in an answer about 40 seconds ago? We're working off of a theory, quote unquote. You said it, not me. You want me to go get a dictionary so we can figure out for the jurors what that word means?
Objection. All right, sustained. Let's move on, please. You would agree with me, Sergeant Buchanan, that if your theory was that there was an impact, the site of that impact would be incredibly important, correct?
Very important, yes.
And on February 10th, you went out to the scene and you indicate that you found 6 pieces of black, clear, and red plastic material and 14 pieces of glass material and some other plastic material as well, correct?
Yes.
You didn't photograph it? Is that right?
No, I did not.
You didn't do any plotting of cross coordinates, which would have been easy to do to determine exactly where each piece was found, correct?
It would not be easy for me. I don't know how to do that.
You've never learned how to plot cross coordinates?
I don't have the tools to GPS coordinate an item.
You take 2 points that are stable. You know what cross coordinates are? Take 2 points that are stable, like for instance, I don't know, let's pick something, like a flagpole that doesn't move. And you draw a line, pull a string directly over the item that you find. Then you take another stable item that's perpendicular to that, pull that straight, put it down. That's exactly, you measure the distance between the two, that's exactly where that item, where those two strings cross, that's exactly where that item's found. That's cross coordinates, isn't it? Objection.
Sustained.
You ever heard of that? Objection.
Sustained.
Do you know what cross coordinates are?
No.
Do you know how to plot cross coordinates?
You just demonstrated it to me.
Does that sound reasonable and easy?
What you explained sounds easy, yes.
And you didn't do that?
I did not. Yes, it does.
You indicated on direct examination you didn't think it was necessary to call out a forensic photographer to photograph and photo document where these items were found. Is that right?
That's right.
But you could have pulled your cell phone out and taken photographs of them, right?
I guess I could have, yes.
But you didn't do any coordinates and you didn't take any photos.
I did not know.
Can you show us a report that memorializes where you supposedly recovered these items?
Yes, the report you showed me, number 83, that documents that they were all recovered at 34 Fairview Road.
Right. So that's correct. There's a report after the fact that establishes that they were recovered generally at 34 Fairview Road on February 10th. But is there a report that describes exactly where on the property at 34 Fairview or off the property at 34 Fairview these 20 items were found? That's a question. I'm waiting.
Oh, I didn't realize. But
do you need me to repeat the question?
Was there a question? Go ahead, please.
Sure. Is there a report that documents exactly where at 34 Fairview on the property these 20-odd items were found exactly?
The report documenting where they were recovered from is number 83 that you just presented. Exact location is the same general vicinity. If it was something different, if we located these items across the street, different section of the yard, that would have been documented.
What's documented in the report that you just referenced says bullet point 2/10/22, meaning February 10/22 at 9:15 a.m. Sergeant Buchanan secured 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, period. That's what it says, right?
Same general vicinity. If there was a different location...
That's what the report says, isn't it? That's all I'm asking. That's what the report says, what I just quoted.
That's the description of the items
So
recovered.
the answer is yes. That's what the report says.
That is part of the report. That is the description of the items recovered on that date.
And the bullet point beneath that says February 10th, 2022 at 9:15 a.m. Sergeant Buchanan secured 14 pieces of glass and plastic fragments. Correct?
That's correct.
There is no further description of where those items were found, is there?
There is.
Where's the report with the further description of exactly where they were found?
It might not be in the report. It might be on the description of the bag, describing that it was 34 Fairview Road. The report indicates and encompasses itself where those items were recovered from. Clearly, the same general vicinity the initial items were recovered from. If there was a need to document a different location, it would have happened.
But you didn't see the need to document the exact coordinates where those items were found, did you? You didn't see the need?
It did not happen.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes. Take a look at that
Photograph. Tell me if you recognize it. What's depicted in it?
Yes, I do.
What's depicted in that photograph, just generally?
It's the side of evidence bag that items were secured in. It documents the case number, the date, time, who recovered it, and general description of the 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic recovered from 34 Fairview Road in Canton.
I'd like to have that marked and moved into evidence, Your Honor.
Is there any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 111.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes. You indicated that the evidence bag would help determine where the exact location was that these items were found, correct?
The general location where they were recovered from.
Will you publish this, Your Honor?
Okay.
Does this look like the photograph that you were just reviewing?
Yes, it does.
That's just been marked as evidence?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Will, can we make that a little larger so it's more legible? Can you read that from where you are?
I can.
Moving past the date, moving on to the date. What date is that?
Date collected is 2/10/22.
So that's the date that we've been talking about, correct?
That is correct.
And this indicates collected by, and who's that?
That's myself, Sergeant Buchanan.
Description of evidence. This is where the description of the evidence is located on this evidence bag, correct?
General description identifying what's inside.
And what is that description?
6 pieces of red, black.
Look, Dr. Squatch Natural Body Wash? Sydney Sweeney Body Wash, Jeannie?
What's your wish? It could be anything.
Coconut. Earthquake!
Dr. Squatch Body Wash for men who prefer natural.
I'm sorry about the commercials, guys. I don't know where they came from, but if I try to mess with them, I'll mess the whole stream up, so I'll fix it during lunch.
When this was bagged?
No, I was not. I was by myself.
Did you give the items of evidence to Michael Proctor to bag?
No, I did not.
Who did you give it to bag?
I bagged it myself.
Whose handwriting is that?
I do not know.
If you bagged it yourself, why didn't you fill out the evidence envelope?
I bagged it and turned it over, and I told him exactly where it was and what time, so someone else wrote the information.
You just said, I bagged it and told him.
Turned it over.
No, sir. No, sir. What you just said was, I bagged it and turned it over to him. And you don't know who it is that you turned it over to? Who's the him?
Turned it over to them.
Who's
them?
Okay.
Whoever wrote it. Whoever wrote it.
So we're just in a circle here. We can turn the lights up.
To the commentary.
So, Mr. Jackson, no comments, okay? Just
Understood.
questions.
I apologize. Ignore my last comment. You had items of evidence that you've already described as being incredibly important, correct?
Those are your words. I actually changed. I said every piece of evidence is important.
Okay. Since this is part of every piece of evidence, do you think this evidence was important?
Every piece of evidence is important.
So was this evidence important? Yes or no?
Yes.
So you had the evidence and turned it over to someone whom you don't know and can't identify. Is that what we understand?
It was a member of the Massachusetts State Police assigned to our office. It wasn't just a random person. I can't specifically identify who it was or who wrote on that bag. I know it was a trusted member of our unit and part of the investigative team.
How do you know it was a trusted member of your unit and a part of the investigative team if you can't tell these jurors who it was? How do you know that?
Because I wouldn't have turned it over to a random stranger.
Okay, so let's figure out the possibilities. Who are among those to whom you would have turned this stuff over? Who are among them?
There was 4 troopers in the detective unit at that point assigned to homicide.
Let's name them. Who are they?
It was Trooper DeChico, Trooper Kakowski, Trooper Dunn, and Trooper Mike Proctor.
As you sit here today, do you believe or do you recall turning it over to Trooper Dunn?
Objection.
We're going to go through each person.
Every one of them. There's only 4.
I'll allow this question.
Do you remember turning it over to Trooper Dunn?
No.
Do you remember turning it over to Trooper Kakowski?
No.
Do you remember turning it over to Trooper DeChico?
No.
Do you remember turning it over to Michael Proctor?
No.
So it might have been just a random stranger. Right?
That's a ridiculous suggestion.
Have you ever seen Trooper Proctor's handwriting before?
Yes.
Things of that nature.
Some evidence bags, some notes.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Can you take a look at that document and tell me if you recognize it?
The whole thing or just the front page?
No, just flip through and tell me if you recognize generally what that is.
It appears to be a bunch of handwritten notes from possibly witness interviews.
Handwritten notes by whom?
Well, you labeled it Proctor. I don't know who it is. Based on the individuals interviewed, might suggest that these are Michael Proctor's notes.
Okay, so you're testifying that I labeled that Proctor?
I don't know.
Right, so you don't know.
Well, you provided a document to me, so.
Right, I know. And then you just testified that I labeled that Proctor. How do you know I labeled that Proctor?
Well, I got it from you.
You didn't see me write that.
Objection.
Sustained. Questions, please.
Sure. That appears to be Michael Proctor, a series of Michael Proctor's notes, correct?
That's what's suggested, yes.
Okay. Can you turn to the first tab? There's a purple tab.
Some of these came off.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm just interested in the purple tab. Do you see a series of handwritten notes that appear to be from Michael Proctor? Not worried about the content.
Sure. If these,
highlight?
yes.
what's the word that's handwritten in that highlight?
Objection.
So why don't we come to sidebar with this document, please?
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
In the ordinary course of business, is it normal standard operating procedure that the person who recovers items of evidence fills out the evidence bag contemporaneous to the recovery of the item?
It's possible you can do that. If there's a reason that you have to leave with an emergency or weather conditions you can't write on the bag, you can fill it out later if you have the time and you know where you recovered it from, which is like, you know, in this instance, if it was a general vicinity where all the other
Project Ruby is birth control on a mission. When you purchase birth control through Project Ruby, you're giving a woman in the developing world access to birth control. Join the movement.
Say Santa version 2.0, a 61st birthday celebration for Maynard James Keenan. Featuring Primus, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle. All three bands on stage together. Saturday, May 31st, American Family Insurance Amphitheater. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Say Santa featuring Primus, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle.
I was by myself, so yes, I told the individual what time, what location, the case number, the date, obviously.
How do you know? How do you know that you told the individual to whom you passed this along the time, the location, the date? How do you know that as you sit here?
Because that information was then put on the bag and documented.
But you can't even remember who you talked to.
I do not remember specifically who I talked to, no.
If you can't remember who you talked to, you don't remember what you said. Goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
That's not true. I might not remember now, but the day that it was bagged on February 10th, 2022, I remembered. And that's why the accurate, detailed information is on the bag.
A bag you didn't fill out, correct?
That's correct.
And information provided to someone you can't remember.
Today, I can't remember, no.
You're aware that that particular bag, that evidence bag, was not booked until March 14th, 2022, correct?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Those pieces of evidence were never booked into evidence until March 14th, 2022.
Those particular pieces of evidence were collected on February 10th, 2022.
Sergeant Buchanan, do you know the difference between collecting a piece of evidence and booking it into evidence, creating a booking label, creating an evidence log, things of that nature? Do you know the difference?
I understand the difference, yes,
okay.
But you claiming that it wasn't booked into something doesn't mean that it wasn't properly handled in custody and under our control.
Sir, I'm not claiming anything. You're testifying. I'm asking questions. Was it booked into evidence on February 10th?
If you show me a document, I can tell you what
sure.
It might be suggesting.
Anyway, the evidence, I have the actual piece of evidence.
I'm sorry, which one?
The photo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let me have just a moment, Your Honor.
Okay. Can we move on and come back to this, Mr. Jackson?
I think I've just gotten the documents that
Okay.
the sergeant needs. There are two documents here.
Did you show Mr. Brennan?
I'm sorry. You can take a look at those two documents and tell me whether or not you recognize them. I'm going to leave those up there with you. Does one of those appear to be the log sheet for the crime lab?
One is a chain of custody report for the crime lab of all the evidence that was processed, received, processed, and returned. Yes.
And the other document?
The other document is simply a receipt of evidence being submitted on a certain day to the lab.
And both of those documents indicate that the first time the evidence was submitted to the crime lab was March 14th, 2022, correct?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
I will have to take a look. It's going to be some time, please.
Well, you can look at the top. Well, let me ask it in question form. If you look through the log, it's in chronological order, the chain of custody log, correct?
By item, I believe, but I didn't take a deep dive into it. I have to take a look.
Right. Do you see any item, especially focusing on item 712 or items 712, you see any item being booked into the crime lab before March 14th, 2022?
All right, I'll take a look.
Sure. Did that refresh your recollection as to when the items were booked at the crime lab?
According to this document, yes, there were items booked at the crime lab prior to March 14th. In particular, to answer your question, completeness here, particular, that one item does indicate that the first time the lab received it for processing was March 14th.
So they were booked at the lab March 14th, correct?
The first time the lab received these items for processing, according to this document, is March 14th.
And there's no indication on any document as to where those items were before March 14th.
There is. We displayed the bag, me collecting them on February 10th, and they were in our possession at the Norfolk District Attorney's Office.
Whose possession?
The Norfolk District Attorney's Office.
Your possession? Specifically?
At one point, they were in my possession, and I turned it over.
Right. After you turned it over on February 10th, it was the day that you claimed to have found these items. After February 10th, they were not in your possession anymore, were they?
No, once I turned them over, they're not in my possession, no.
When you say turn them over, you're talking about turning them over to someone whom we don't know, correct? As we sit here.
Right now, I don't have a memory of who I turned it over to, but it was a member of our homicide team.
So the next time, Sergeant Buchanan, the next time there's any documentation about those items is March 14th, nearly 6 weeks later, 5 weeks later, correct?
I don't know that to be correct, no.
Well, you can't point to any documentation. You're looking at the logs. You can't point to any documentation indicating the chain of custody of these items between February 10th and March 14th. Is that right?
This is simply a log from the lab.
Yes or no? Can you point to any documentation?
Ask the question.
Can you point to any documentation indicating where those items went, whose possession they were in what circumstance, between February 10th and March 14th? Can you point to any document?
I know that it was collected on February 10th.
Right.
It's documented that it was collected. It was at the Norfolk District Attorney's Office before it was logged into the lab for processing.
You keep answering the same question that I'm not asking, sir.
Objection. Sustained. No comments, Mr. Jackson.
Sergeant Buchanan, do you understand my question? I'm asking, can you point to a single document for these jurors as to where those items went and in whose possession they remained, specifically between February 10th, when you lost sight of them, and March 14th, when the crime lab received them?
The best Mother's Day food gifts are shipping nationwide. So if you want Martha Stewart's strawberry layer cake, Jacques Torres' signature chocolates, Danielle Balloud's award-winning beef and butter kit, or legendary cheesecake from Junior's Restaurant, Gold Belliot, shipping the greatest food gifts to your door. Order now for Mother's Day and get free shipping anywhere nationwide.
Break free with the new Opera GX, the browser that puts you in control with a brand new design that frees up even more pixels for personalization and an inventory of features to up your game at every level. Like GX Control to help rein in your resources with integrated limiters for RAM, CPU, and network. A sidebar for direct access to your favorite side quests, streams, and posts. And built-in privacy tools like ad and tracker blockers and free no-log VPN. Check into GX Corner for the latest news, deals, and free games. But what really makes our hit different is mods, giving you the power to change everything from animated wallpapers to themes, sounds, music, and shaders, so you can change everything. Get Opera GX.
Yes, it does.
May I approach?
Yes.
What is this document you just looked at?
It's the receipt of evidence submission to the crime lab.
And who submitted, based on that document, who submitted all of that evidence to the crime lab?
Michael Proctor.
You're also aware that Michael Proctor eventually submitted a total of some 46 or so pieces of taillight material that was claimed to have been recovered at 34 Fairview on since January 29th, 2022, correct?
I don't know the total pieces, but we didn't claim to recover it there. We recovered it there.
You're testifying that they were recovered, but you didn't recover all of them, did you?
I did not recover all of them, no.
Matter of fact, Michael Proctor, according to you, recovered some of those items, correct?
Some of those items were recovered by Michael Proctor, yes.
And you're also aware that he submitted pieces of taillight material that he indicated he recovered as late as February 18th, 2022, correct?
I am aware that there was items recovered on February 18th. I am not sure exactly if it was him or someone else that recovered it.
You indicated, I think in direct examination yesterday, that as of February 3rd or February 4th, the weather had broken, generally, correct? It was getting warmer.
Yes, the weather was warmer. There were rainy days following the 3rd, I believe. No, the 4th it was raining when I picked up that piece of evidence. So, yeah, the weather had warmed up.
So it was raining and somewhat storming on the 4th?
Warming, there was a low pressure cell coming through. I have no idea.
Okay, but that's the same day that you were told that Chief Berkowitz was driving by and saw that reference.
The day I picked up the single piece with Canton PD present, it was raining.
So he would have been driving by, windows up, water on the windows, in the rain, and saw the red piece?
Objection. Sustained.
You indicated that on February 10th, when you did your final visit, made your final visit to 34 Fairview, you indicated yesterday during testimony there was quote unquote very little snow still present, correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Sergeant, that's a 2-page document. Could you familiarize yourself with those 2 pages, please, and let me know when you're finished?
Okay.
Thank you. Sir, what do those 2 pages purport to reflect? What are they pictures of? Just general, an evidence bag, something else?
The first one's an evidence bag with
Can you
some.
tell me the date, just so we can cut to the chase, the date of that evidence collection according to the bag?
On the bag, the date is 2/11/22.
Okay, and what's the
On the sticker, there's another date. There's a sticker, March 9th of 22.
Okay, what's the,
There's also a date at the.
I'm just interested in the 2 pages, just generally. I need to mark them for evidence. What's the second page look like?
Second page is a large piece of red and black taillight plastic cover, and it's identified by a lab number, I believe.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. So there's 1 page is an evidence bag. The other page purports to be the item that was in the evidence bag, correct?
I don't know that, no.
Okay.
It's just, one's an evidence bag with information on it, and then there's a photograph of a piece recovered. I don't know.
I'd like to have those marked and introduced as next in order A and B.
Is there any objection from the Commonwealth?
No objection.
Okay. Exhibits 112A and B.
Your Honor, request to publish.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Taking a look at this item, can you describe for the jurors what they're looking at, please?
This is an evidence bag. It is labeled with case number, date collected, time, who collected it, description of items enclosed, the location it was recovered, and the victim's full name. It also has a to-scale ruler for the photograph and some identifying marks from the laboratory.
Can you indicate for the jurors who was it that collected this item according to the evidence bag?
According to this evidence bag, it was collected by Trooper Proctor.
And can you show the date, or tell the jurors the date that it indicates the item was collected, or items were collected?
I believe it says 2/11/22.
February 11th, so that would be the day after you were at the location, correct?
It would be the day after, yes.
Can we have the full screen, Mr. Woke? You see the designation at the bottom beneath the measuring ruler?
Yes, I do, yes.
Is there a case number or case designator starting with 22?
Yes, I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe it's a LIMS number 22-02184.
And do you see an item number listed right next to that case number?
Yes, this indicates it's 7-15.
And there's another set of initials beneath that, it appears, correct?
That's what, I mean, there's letters. I don't know if there's someone's initials.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. This appears to be something that was filled out by the crime lab. The black lettering and numbering, correct?
I would assume. I don't know for sure, though.
Okay, and obviously there's a date down here, 2/17/23, a year later, correct?
Yes.
And then it says Canton at the bottom.
Yes.
If we could have the full screen, please. Okay, you also indicated that there was a label up at the top, correct?
Yes.
All right. If we could go to the second page, it'd be page B of this. Can you look at first of all, look at the bottom and tell me if that number designator appears to be the same as on the evidence, as on the previous page?
Let's face it, guys only want one thing.
Wish I had something natural instead of this synthetic body wash. Sydney Sweeney, body wash genie?
Dr. Squatch Body Wash for men who prefer natural.
The restaurant business is a very, very tough business. Most restaurants don't last very long in this industry. Working hard, never give up, and being dedicated to the industry, and that's, to me, is part of success.
As I can't testify to their procedures, why they do it, how they do it, or the sequence in which, or the choice in numbers or letters. I have no idea about any of that.
We can have the lights up with the court's permission. We can leave this up. If you could leave that up, Mr. Wolf. All right. You can still see that on the screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You went out to 34 Fairview on February 10th, 24 hours before February 11th, right? To pick up a piece of, I'm sorry, to look for additional items of evidence, correct?
I collected, I believe, 20 pieces in total, 6 and 14, the day prior, yes.
You see the size of this, according to the ruler. General.
Yes.
How big is that? The widest part, that thin.
At the widest part, it appears, if there's no optical illusion with the ruler location, 6 inches.
Okay. That's 6 inches is the size of a dollar bill, right?
That's correct.
Okay. It also looks like it may be more than that from top to bottom, 6, maybe 7 inches, top to bottom. Did you give us an estimate?
Possibly a little bit more, yeah.
Okay. You didn't see this item on February 10th when you were there, correct?
If I saw that item, I would have picked it up.
Right. Wasn't there, was it?
That's not what I'm saying. I said if I saw it, I would have picked it up.
But you didn't see it, did you?
I did not see it, obviously.
But according to the information that we just presented, this item was found the next day by Trooper Michael Parker. Right.
Based on the information presented, that's what it says, yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
We can take that down. May I approach one more time?
Okay.
Thank you. This is a 3-page document. If you
Did you show
familiarize
Mr.
yourself-
Brennan? I didn't see.
You showed it to me earlier. Thank you.
I did previously. Are you familiar with that document? When I say familiar, that's a bad question. Let me ask it a different way. Do you recognize what's generally in those 3 pages? Sergeant, can you describe generally, just very generally, so I can either mark it or not mark it, do you recognize what's depicted on the first page, the second page, and the third page?
The first page depicts an evidence bag from labeled date of collection 2/18/22. Second page is a red piece of plastic, and third page is also a photograph of a longer red piece of plastic with a little bit of black molding on it.
Your Honor, I would ask that that be moved into evidence as A, B, and C subordinately.
Is there any objections?
No objection.
Exhibits 113A, B, and C.
Move to publish, Your Honor.
Okay.
Sergeant, same couple of questions, if we could. Do you see a date of collection on this evidence envelope?
Yes, this photograph indicates 2/18/22.
And collected by whom?
Trooper Proctor.
Full view, Mr. Wolk. Thank you, sir. And then if we could highlight the lower portion that appears to be by the ruler. Do you see the same, I think you called it a lens number?
Limbs, L-I-M.
Okay. The LIM number is the same number, the 22-02184, correct?
Yes.
And the item number in this one is handwritten as what?
7/16.
Okay. If we can go to the second page, please. Do you see it, first of all, on the bottom, the same item designator number?
Yes, 7/16.
And what is depicted in this photograph?
A red piece of plastic.
That would be a piece of plastic according to the item number that would be contained in that evidence envelope, one of the pieces at least.
I would assume. Yes.
Okay. Is that a similar 6-inch ruler that's being photographed with that red piece?
Yes, it is.
And how long at its longest point would you estimate that piece of plastic to be?
It's more than 6 inches. I mean, probably 7, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 7.
I know this is a little bit of a challenge, but how from top to bottom, what would you estimate the distance to be at its longest point?
3.5 inches, I guess.
Okay. And then the next page, please, the final page, which would be sub C. Do you see the same designator on the bottom right?
Yes, I do.
That's 7/16, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Appears to be out of the same evidence envelope, is that right?
That's what's suggested, yes.
And how long would you estimate this item to be?
7.5, 8 inches.
And maybe, 3 inches tall? 4?
Yeah, 3.
3. Okay, we can have the lights up, Your Honor, with the court's permission. Again, the last time you were out at the location with very little snow on the ground, you collected certain items of evidence on February 10th, correct?
February 10th was the last time I collected. I said there was still snow on the ground, maybe in piles where it was excavated. There was very little, but there was still snow on the ground.
You indicated that you obviously looked around the area. You talked about the general area. I think you used the word general vicinity, right? When
Yes.
You collected your items.
Yes.
You didn't see this, and you didn't see the one before it either. did you?
If I saw any of these items, they would have been collected. We did not excavate anything. We simply allowed the thawing and natural recession of the snow to reveal additional items.
When you were there on the 3rd, February 3rd, there was still some snow on the ground, but you did excavate, correct?
Yes, there was a lot of snow on the ground. Yes.
By February 4th, that snow was dissipating some, correct?
It was, yes.
You were excavating through that as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. On the 4th?
On the 4th?
No, we did not excavate on the 4th. The item revealed itself, and I collected it.
That was it. Okay, fair enough. Then on the 10th, you didn't need to do any more excavating because there was, quote unquote, in your words, very little snow. Very little, right?
Those were my words.
Okay.
Compared to the first day, there was very little snow on the ground.
And in fact, you did not see any of the items that were collected or claimed to have been collected at 34 Fairview by Michael Proctor on February 11th, the day after you were there, correct? Did not see that item?
Did not see that item, no.
And did not see any of the items that you've seen that were claimed to have been collected by Michael Proctor on February 18th, a week later, correct?
Those items were not observed by me, or else I would have collected them.
We can take this down. I want to change gears for a second, Sergeant, if it's okay with you, and switch to the Waterfall Bar and Grill. You indicated that on direct examination, you reviewed video evidence and you had information that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed arrived at the Waterfall after leaving C.F. McCarthy's, correct?
That is correct.
I'd like to ask you about who your investigation revealed was there at the Waterfall when they arrived. What about Brian Higgins?
Yes, the investigation revealed Brian Higgins was at the Waterfall at their arrival.
And you learned that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed arrived at the Waterfall together, not separately, correct?
That is correct.
About what time did, according to your investigation, Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed arrive at the Waterfall?
I believe it was 11:03, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
When they walked in, you've reviewed the video, correct?
Yes, we played it yesterday, yes.
When they walked in, Brian Higgins was already situated in the Waterfall, standing or sitting at a sort of a high top bar table, correct?
Brian Higgins was present. I don't know his exact location. The video would depict it.
You did learn that Brian Higgins, on January 29th, January 28th, going into January 29th, 2022, had what could be generally referred to as a romantic interest in Ms. Reed?
Objection. Sustained.
Did you receive certain text messages from Brian Higgins during the course of your investigation?
I received extraction of his text messages. I did not receive any text messages.
Did you actually receive an extraction from his phone, or was it simply text messages that he supplied?
Does it ever seem like work is just one long list of questions?
Who are you here for?
Where's my charger? Do I have anything in my teeth?
Good thing you have human intelligence to show you the way.
Who would be an ideal mentor considering my goals?
Who has the right technical skills for this?
The answers to your business questions of performance, culture, impact, and team dynamics with human intelligence from WorkHuman. You already have them.
Which group is driving our culture the most?
How engaged is the night shift?
What kind of skills would set me up for advancement in my group?
How do you think we stack up against other departments?
Unlock the insights hidden in your own data to transform your business and start seeing what good looks like in your organization. The only question is,
do you work human?
This is the story of the award-winning, chef-approved, sold-out 30 times Always Pam. We partnered with the best experts in sustainability and design. And after 3 years, 43 prototypes, and hundreds of egg tests later, we did it. Today, we have over 30,000 five-star reviews, and the Always Pam just keeps selling out. Ready to make cooking a lot easier?
Handed me the items. I don't know who else was involved. You said him alone. He handed me the items.
That's what I mean. You reviewed those text messages back and forth, correct?
It's been some time, but yes, I had.
And those purported to be, I think you already said, those purported to be two strings, I'm going to call them strings of texts. Some string text messages between Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
And some string text messages between Brian Higgins and Karen Reed, correct?
Yes.
Would you describe the text messages between Brian Higgins and Karen Reed that he presented to you as flirtatious in nature?
Without having recently reviewed them in detail, I don't want to label it something without having complete understanding of the content. I'm not comfortable putting a label. Friendly communications, I don't want to put a label on it. There were communications between acquaintances or people that know each other. There was text message communication. As far as flirtations, I would have to take a look at the content of it for certain terms that would support that label.
Well, there was, do you remember a text message exchange about a kiss that was shared?
Objection. Sustained.
Do you remember any text message between the two of them that suggested a romantic interest, either one of them may have had, based on the text messages?
Objection. Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
They took a short break and we'll be right back.
That I want to make you wait here, so we'll take our morning break now. We'll take a half an hour break.
What? All rise, please. Jury exiting, just fold your notebooks and leave them in here, please. Just step right up. Thank you.
I need you to stay for just a second, please, Sergeant. So how are we going to get, I know you're very careful about not talking to witnesses when they're on the stand. So you're to give Mr. Brennan copies of everything that we talked about, and somebody's got to give them to Sergeant Buchanan to review.
I have no problem with Mr. Brennan providing report number 11 and
Okay. And I need copies as well. So if you can get them to Mr. McDermott so I can have them, that would be great.
I'm sorry?
No, that won't save time, actually. No, so Mr. McDermott will make copies. Thanks, Jen. All right, so we'll see you back here in half an hour. If you need me before then, let me know.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, I'm gonna try to fix the commercials while they are on break. So I'm sorry about what's going on. I have no idea where those commercials came from. I've been streaming for like 3 years and never had that happen. So sorry about the screen for 1 minute. So how does everybody think that this witness is doing? I don't think he's definitely not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But I don't know how they're going to get by and not call Proctor. They're going to have to call Proctor. So hopefully I got rid of the commercials. Let's see. Okay, be right back. I'm going to check the commercials.